Welcome to the shop, and it's been a hell of a week and an emotional roller coaster. So seeing so much support for Little Spot really made it easier to bear, and I would really like to thank everyone who kept us and our tiny friend in their thoughts. And a special thanks to Zita Mahoney, who offered to help with Spot's medical bills. So we can afford to care for the mousies, so don't worry, that's exactly why money is really worth saving. Nevertheless, it was really a lovely gesture to offer, and I really appreciate it. This week we're going to have a shorter review than usual. As I said before, I didn't have time to prepare much. Nevertheless, in this episode we have Orion and Diabetti coming back, nobody saw that coming, a new twist, a ton of character development for a lot of queens, 42 dresses, and a new chapter in the Alyssa vs Willow storyline, a lip sync, and at the end, as usual, speculations, predictions, no confessional charts unfortunately, but we are going to discuss the number of episodes for this season. And it was a good episode. I liked this episode. It was well structured, the narrative was compelling, and there wasn't much editing shade going on. Other than that, I wouldn't be so quick to say this season is so good, because we've seen it happen before, and then what happens is that you get to the episode after and it's a complete shit show. So let's hope for the best and be prepared for the worst, because it's going to be an acting challenge, and you know how those goes. Prince Astral, thanks to your video I was able to see how they edited Alyssa to be shady when getting Willow's name wrong, but when Cornbread did it, she's quirky and fun. Yes. Did you see the difference in there? Beaver Satil, is RuPaul in a coma all the time and Mamaro replaced her? Before it used to be like, yeah, drugs are fun, but now it's like they lace their coffee every time she comes on set. And they're like, you're more entertaining this way. People like you more this way. Don't worry, mama, just swallow this. It's fine. It's fine, I said. So the episode starts and we have a tribute for Joey J from Alyssa Hunter. If you cannot stand Alyssa Hunter now, I don't know when will you ever start, because this was already the best occasion to start. It feels correct. I love when queens support each other, especially by getting their merch and especially by showcasing it in the workroom during the show. Next up, it's a new day in the workroom and RuPaul introduces two new queens. It's going to be Diabetti and Orion, because of course it would. My best bet was that they would do something about it, like, I don't know, a lip sync to come back. So I wasn't surprised about it. Of course I wasn't surprised. As usual, money speaks louder than words, so they're not going to lose 2 episodes by throwing away 2 queens in the premieres. They haven't done it for years, and it's a ton of money in advertisement for VH1. Then also we have the candy bar twist. The candy bar are all on the table, so the producers already know which one of the candy bar actually is golden, which queens will have another chance to return. They know already. On top of that, they asked the queens to sign the candy bars. Why would they sign them if they would keep them for themselves? Well, that's because probably at some point they have to give it back. Did anybody really bought that this was going to be a random thing? When I saw it, I was like, yeah, no. And it's a little bit cringe on the main stage. Because every time a queen goes home, we will have to go through the it's chocolate moment. Luis Felipe, what if the queens who got the golden ticket made it to the top 4? I can assure you that the gods will not let the top 4 get the golden ticket. It's going to be a queen that is going home. We are going to see someone open the chocolate bar and find a gold ticket in there. It's going to happen. They didn't went through all this trouble only for a queen randomly chose a bar and then never open it because she gets to the top 4. It's not going to happen. I can guarantee you that. There is this moment during the candy bar. At some point, Maddy goes there, she signs the bar, and then she forgets the bar. And all the queens, like all of them, they go like, oh my god, she's flustered. And RuPaul goes like, ooh, Maddy, something is changing, you know? It's a running gag, it's a joke. But she jokes about this a lot, like a lot. And I was like, sure, mama, keep joking. She ain't gonna give it to you. That's what's going to happen. You're not going to get it. Nevertheless, on television, it's a little bit insistent. Joey, I grew up with theater straight, so I definitely get it. I'm just worried they won't understand. I saw some comments, people being like, why is everybody defending a straight white man? And I'm like, bitch, equality is equality for everyone. You cannot start pointing fingers at people and rob them of equal rights just because of what happens in the past. I mean, at some point, you will never get any sort of equality if you all don't do anger, if you all don't do past things. I'm sorry if it sounds like shit, but learning to forgive and forget is part of building a new unified society. You cannot hold on grudges forever. And if the guy got his sexuality outed and he didn't want it to be outed, I'm going to speak about it and I'm going to empathize about it. I know how it feels, so I don't give a shit if it's a straight white man or if it's a transgender woman or if it's a disabled black person. It's all the same to me. Dignity doesn't know skin color, doesn't know age, doesn't know gender, doesn't know sexuality. It's dignity, period. So this is what I think about it. Moving on, what do we have? Ru announces the Maxi challenge. We're going to have a ball. The girls from the premiere 1 are going to participate in the hide and seek ball, and the girl from the premiere 2 will go in the red, white, and blue ball. Now, each queen will have to present 3 dresses. 2 they brought from home, but 1 they will have to make from scratch in the workroom. And that for me is the most interesting part, because apart from the fact that some of the dresses were really beautiful, at the end of the day, I never know if you made the dress, if you made the concept, if you paid someone for the concept, or maybe you just paid someone for making it. I don't know all of these things. And at the end of the day, it looks like a race on who has more money or who is willing to take in more debt in order to spend money and prepare better for Drag Race. So I will consider more the dresses that they actually made in the workroom and way, way less whatever they brought from home. In a way, I think it's also better for the queen not to reward the production for forcing them to basically spend so much money, because it's money that maybe most of them don't even have yet because they're not established performers. They really just bankrupt the queens, and you know that at the end of the day, they don't even really judge them on what they brought, so what's the point? We are back in the workroom and we have Brace for Impact. We have a normal conversation. So instead of having RuPaul coming in and outing Maddy like she did the episode before, we just have a normal conversation. You can really see that Cornbread is a person in there. A lot of queens go on Drag Race and either they hold back a little bit, so they are still themselves, but they just hold back because you never know with the edit what's going to happen, or some just straight out produce themselves and put forward an image that it's the way they want to appear. Cornbread feels like a person. I could sit down and have like a good conversation with you, a satisfying conversation with you, maybe a couple of drinks, a joint, a cigarette, why not? You know, and we go on all night. She really looks like a genuine person. But this is the last normal moment that we have in the workroom, because at this specific moment, it's when the delirium actually begins. We have Carrie talking about Sharon Stone. Of course, nobody knows who's Sharon Stone because we're all old as fuck, so they are too young for knowing who she is. But I like that Angeria comes out of nowhere, and I'm sure she knows who Sharon Stone is, and she's like, oh, you have stones? Are you Sherry? Oh, Angeria, yes. I would like to share some stones with you. I would really like that. Then we have Jasmine having a Laganja moment. Jasmine is doing yoga in the workroom. And then we finally get to the fucking dragonfly. And this is surreal because the straight guy, mind you, he's working on his wedding gown, his woman's wedding gown. And while he does that, he finds a dragonfly on the floor. You have basically the Bettiga coming in, and it's like, oh my god, is that a dragonfly? Oh yes, it's a dragonfly. Then Cornbread intercepts, and she's like, ooh, bro, I'll give you $1,000 if you eat it, bro. And then Bettiga is like, bro, you mean this dragonfly? Eat it? And Cornbread is like, yes, bro, $1,000. We are going to shake on it. Okay, sure, bro. I will eat that insect that may or may not be dead due to the fact that insects are cold-blooded animals and the air conditioning might have caused her to just become immobile. You think you're going to fly away? No. Come here. I have the superpowers of insulin, so I'm going to eat you. And in all of this, the straight guy was still on the side preparing his wedding gown and his high heels and whatever else he was doing. That's what equality actually looks like. Insulin dependent skank. I can tell you that insulin has a lot of powers, but I don't go around eating dragonflies. What is your drag name when you sing? I am the deranged queen, of course. That's my drag name. For obvious reasons. Where are we? Oh, we have some character development. Now, I don't say it to be rude. I'm talking from a television perspective, because I thought that this moment was really genuine. This is very good character development for both of them, because you're left at the end of this episode thinking, I think I know a little bit more about them. I think I'm growing a little bit more attached to them. After this, it's a new day in the workroom, and we have this very strange conversation between June and Orion. And she starts saying, okay, listen, I'm going to give you the true tea. I'm not excited that you're back, but I am happy that you're back. And Jasmine is completely shook. Jasmine is thinking, what the fuck is happening? Jasmine's reactions are everything in all of this. Nevertheless, this moment was really surreal because June comes off not as shady, she comes off as nasty. So I don't know what the fuck is going on in here. What I can tell you is that I went through this scene and I realized that at some moment a hairnet materializes in Orion's hands. So at least we know that parts of these conversations were cut out. That is for sure. What was the context? I don't know. It's impossible to tell, but knowing this is Drag Race, I wouldn't be so sure to start pointing fingers and say, oh, you are like this or you are like that. Because you never know. Nevertheless, it was a shit look. It really was a shit look. Let's move on to the mirror moments. We have one with Orion in which she talks about her mom passing away from suicide because of bipolar disorder. A lot of people don't know this, but bipolar is depression mixed with moments of mania. It's very easy to mistake people who have bipolar disorder for people that are actually fine, because you're like, oh, it's okay, they just have a down moment, now they're up again, you know, as if they recovered. But it's not really like that. Also, talking about depression, let's demystify one thing. Depressed people are not sad. Depressed people are people that are completely tuned down. They are emotionally stunted. They don't go to work anymore. They stay closed in the house. They have huge weight fluctuation. Either they lose a ton of weight, they gain a ton of weight. They don't go out with their friends anymore. If you have a friend that is in that situation, the best thing that you can do is go to their house and give them a hand, because these are people that literally stop even washing themselves. They are completely tuned out. Don't make the mistake that depression means sadness, because it doesn't. It's something else. And if you want to be helpful for your friends who you think are going through a very rough time, keep an eye on these things and then maybe point them to a helpline or to an expert that can take care of them. But you know, since part of the show it's also putting a little bit of educational value in there, I felt it was a good thing to share this thing. The next mirror moment we have is with Carrie and Cornbread. So basically Carrie is talking about her relationship with her family while growing up. And at this point, while hearing about this, Cornbread is going through, she's been triggered. She is reliving things that happened to her in her past, and she walks away. She just walks away. It has a lot of dignity to just say, I'm going to have my moment in private. When I see people compose themselves, I relate to that the most, because I am the same way. Let's move on to the main stage. I didn't have time to actually review all 42 of those dresses, and trust me, you don't really want fashion advice from me. If you feel like you need to hear my opinion on fashion, you need to seek a doctor immediately. There's something wrong with you. Nevertheless, in this chart I gave 0 to 5 star for every dress that I saw on the runway. You can see the final score in the next to last column, but the important part is what I consider the adjusted score. It's adjusted in a way where the dresses that they took from home only count 20% of their total score. So 80% of their final score for me should be the dress that they actually made by themselves in the workroom. For me, the uncontested winner was Alyssa. And if it wasn't Alyssa, then you still have Diabetti and Angeria right there, who are more eligible than Willow for a win for me. What put Willow down? Well, I didn't really like her final dress, and the zebra print. It was really cute, but it didn't read zebra to me. Willow absolutely didn't deserve the win. Eye position, yes. A win, no. Curiously, Willow won this challenge, but the one person that everybody will agree it should have been at the very least in a high position was just safe. And that person was Alyssa, who is going to be very vocal about it during Untucked. So make no mistake, this was not done by chance. So keep an eye on the dynamic between the two, because if they are really going to go that route, yes, I'm still wishing and hoping that I'm wrong on all of this, but if they are really going to go that route, it's going to happen next episode. So keep an eye on that. Fantasia, if you really want to know what Top RPDR Video thinks all of the looks from the runway, join the Patreon where you get no extra content. Fantasia, you are a bitch. I'm trying. Not very much working. And by the way, if you want to know the full opinions, you should come on Discord. That's where I am completely unhinged. JP Medina, the Patreon is the definition of come on girl, give us nothing. Are you done shitting on my Patreon? I promise you, if I will ever make enough money out of this to actually have the channel as a part-time job instead of a side gig, or however you want to call it, free time gig, I will start doing more shit for the Patreon, that is for sure. JP, transform the Patreon into an OF. I cannot say that word, because you know what happens on YouTube if you say it too much. It's as if you are flashing your dick to the camera for some reason. So, no, but the Mousies have a fake OF page. Vilma has it. It was a running gag, you know, you cannot really subscribe to that. But she has it. Okay, let's move on to the Cryptiques.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. Bullshit.
That's a joke.
Every fucking time.
I was being realistic.
Realistic with bullshit? Girl, bullshit. You are a fucking liar.
So, to Willow, they give her a general good lick from top to bottom. And remember, she's not a Willow pill. She's a psychoactive pill. And they put a couple of those in each coffee, just to be sure. A talent handler was like, Ru, hey, here's your coffee. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you so much. No, who are we kidding? RuPaul doesn't say thank you backstage. Thanks to the talent handlers for giving us one of the best cryptiques so far. RuPaul was completely unhinged. She started talking about enemas. She started hitting on Maddy. She started stroking around. Everybody was laughing. Carson was getting his life. I was getting my life. Keep RuPaul medicated at all time. So, we have a general lick to Willow. Everything is perfect, everything is fantastic. Michelle says the dress is a showstopper. She was surprised by the fact that all the cast can sue. Michelle is giving a compliment to everyone. Please notice how rare that is. She's not being a complete bitch to the queens who are going to be in the bottom and completely out of her head for the queens who are going to be in the top. She's actually giving a compliment to everyone. Let's keep Michelle medicated as well. Then we move on to RuPaul, who says, this is absolutely stunning. Everything was right. Which of course means nothing. We don't see the quality of the sewing. We don't see if there is, those nitpicking things that were so important in episode 1, yet somehow in episode 3 we never talk about them. We never zoom in too much. But you know the gist. She has to win, so Alyssa will be hangry about it. Then we move on to Orion. And Michelle says Orion is missing versatility, and there was a lot of repetitiveness. The outfits were a little busy, and the teeth in the hair looked like Halloween. I agree with the teeth in the hair. They made absolutely no sense. I don't know if she explained it at some point on the main stage and gave a reason because of it and it was cut out. I have no idea. But the missing versatility and repetitiveness and the busy outfit, that was a load of bullshit. Because a ton of other queens did the same things over and over again, and nothing was said about them. Why nothing was said about them? Well, because some of them were conveniently sent backstage, despite the fact that they should have had their ass dragged to the bottom on the main stage. But you know the gist. Somebody has to win and somebody has to go home. So everything needs to fall in place because of that. Moving on to June. RuPaul said that her coffee enema is kicking in. So Mama is medicated, Mama is having a time of her life. Carlson says that the zebra was pretty. And of course it's Carlson. So whatever Carlson say, I'm just like, yes, of course it's true. Of course. Then we go to Michelle. You were struggling with your evening gown. And I agree, because dress is one part of the challenge. The other part of the challenge is presentation. But it also bears asking one question, because remember, every runway is done twice. So how many shit we don't see just because it's cut out? Because I agree with that. Presentation matters. And it also matters more if you have to be in the bottom and go home. What else do we have? RuPaul, because her enema kicked in. She tells her that she's not proud of this outfit. She has to find what works for her. And if she cannot find it, she can just copy the style of other celebrities with their body type. You know? RuPaul went to the Butterface School for Girls. If you can make it on your own, just copy someone else. It works. Nobody's going to ask any questions. She doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. This fucking wheel, we're going to talk about wheels all of the time. So RuPaul is in psychedelic-induced delirium. The whole time. It was so good to watch. I usually watch the Cryptiques and I'm like, I'm going to get triggered. I know that it's going to happen. This time I had so much fun, you had no idea. Moving on to Angeria. The red resort dress just had the right amount of fullness. The red resort dress, the first one. I love Angeria. I'm very vocal about it. But that dress was straight out of season 5 from Detox's pufferfish look. It wasn't good back then, and it wasn't good today. Everything else she served on that runway, especially the white dress, was amazing. It was top notch. But the first red dress, please turn it and burn it. Bring back Tina Burner. She has to burn that outfit for her. Then we have Carlson. All praise Carlson. All the looks are elevated and you have taste. But, you know, if Carlson says that all the looks are elevated, then I'm willing to reconsider my judgment on the first dress. Moving on to George's. With all of the placements that the judges actually made, there are a couple of things that I really didn't agree with, and one of those was George's. George's at best was safe. She had, for me, one of the worst dresses in the whole ball, out of the all 42. The Red Hot Resort dress from George's was a punch in the face. It was a piece of fabric. Nothing else. You have the body for it, so it works for you. But I know that it works only because you have the body for that. It read lazy. That's the problem. I can give a pass on badly crafted, I can give a pass to ill-fitting, but I cannot give a pass to lazy. Because that is a piece of fabric, and you brought that piece of fabric from home. Georges, you brought it from home. Nevertheless, she's there on the main stage. And Michelle says the first disco look was gorgeous. It was Gorge W. Bush. They're all medicated, so we're going to wink wink, nudge nudge, and think that we're just here to have a good time. The bridal look doesn't scream bride. I agree. It screams I can't sew and this is hot glue and desperation. And then RuPaul continues. You know that you were born for drag, Georges? Did you know that? I think I'm going to bump you to my top 4 predictions already, because last time RuPaul said you were born to do drag, she ended up winning. We had 2 spots for the young and talented this season. One was Jasmine, the other one was Georges. We already know who won that rivalry, just because RuPaul told her that. She's really talking to the viewers at home, you know? You can be born to do drag, and if you decide to do drag, you can come on my show. Just sign the contract. Give me everything. You were born to do drag, baby. Let's move on to Maddy. So Michelle says the Red Hot was her least favorite. It felt pedestrian. It looks like you purchased this at the gift shop. In a way, I agree with her. There you go, I said it. I agree with Michelle. She is not at everybody's level. I don't know if she ran out of money. I don't know if she has a completely different style from everybody else, but Maddy was literally a punch in the face on that runway. And she is an incredible performer. She can hold the stage. But fashion, I mean, that's better than my fashion, that is for sure. But, you know, being better than me, it's not a bar that will push you for the long run on RuPaul's Drag Race. Then Ru comes in, and it's her turn to shine. And she was like, there was something missing from that white. You know what was missing? That Rawr, I'm feeling my pussy, rawr. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's happening? It goes on for 5 minutes. 5 minutes of RuPaul moaning on stage for Maddy. Maddy, run! Please, Maddy. Then, of course, she asks Maddy, hey, Maddy, have you tried coffee enemas? I mean, yes, of course, you can have some anal pleasure. It doesn't make you a fag. There are a ton of straight cisgender men out there who enjoy a nice anal stimulation. But that's not how you start a conversation. Can you imagine being at work, meeting a new colleague, maybe a very masculine man, and ask him, hey, have you tried coffee enemas? Does it work for you? I have a couple of dildos here in my bag. We can go to the toilet and, quick, have a little bit of something in there. What the fuck? But can you imagine being that guy? Do you remember season 12, where RuPaul would come in and go to Crystal and be like, oh my god, Crystal, your mullet, can I touch it? Can I touch your mullet, Crystal? Can I also put a finger in your ass while we're at it? Oh my god. I enjoy medicated RuPaul, I enjoy her, but not when she gets crazy on other people, because people that watch it casually might get the wrong idea of what's happening in here. After all of that, RuPaul ties it all together by saying that she might have had a little bit too much coffee. And I was thinking the fucking talent handlers that put 4 ecstasies on Mamaro's coffee. For the lip sync, it was forgettable, like every other lip sync for your life so far. This one was heavily edited in favor of Maddy. If you know where to look and how to look, you cannot have possibly missed that. Every time June is trying to do something, the camera moves back to Maddy. Every time there is a long shot, Maddy is always on the foreground, June is always on the background. And every time the camera moves to June, she looks like a complete mess. Which, I mean, it was messy, the lip sync was messy, but to be messy for 3 minutes straight, it takes a lot of commitment. So I know that the camera work was done in a very specific way. The camera and the editing did Maddy a lot of favors, but Maddy was just staying there. Kylie deserved better. For the 3rd time in a row, I was like, send them both home. I don't know what happens that queens cannot lip sync anymore. This was tragic. Luis Felipe, Maddy was drunk. Yes, thank you for reminding me that. You are right, Maddy was drunk. She went on Roscoe saying, I was drunk as fuck during the lip sync. I think she said, since I was sure I was going home, I was like, okay, I'm going to at least drink as much as I want. Can you imagine that? You are on RuPaul's Drag Race and you're like, okay, I am going home. You know what? I'm going to drink all of their alcohol before they send me home. At the end of the day, Maddy is asked to stay and June has to sashay away. But before she does that, she needs to open that fucking chocolate bar. And instead of, closing words and having an emotional moment, maybe even have a good cry if you feel like crying. No, you cannot do that. You have to open the fucking chocolate bar. Oh, it's chocolate. And we really need to have, the trombone playing on the background because like, wah, 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 wah. We're going to do this 8 more times. Get ready. Sasha, how do you feel about the chocolate not even being real? Well, in my fantasy, it's real. I could already imagine Ru backstage with a cup of laced coffee in her hand, screaming to the eliminated queen, you have to eat the chocolate. Eat the chocolate, yeah. But thank God it's not real chocolate, so they cannot deep throat it in front of RuPaul. June sashays without a mirror moments. Her mirror moments was shitting on Orion. Sorry it happened again, but I didn't have time to finish this. It's Thursday night, the episode is going to come out tomorrow, so I need to get this out as soon as possible. But I can tell you that in the prediction that I did last Sunday, I had 4 queens from most likely to less likely, considering also that they had mirror moments already, and their storyline in general, if there is something there or if it closed already. From most likely to less likely, the prediction were Maddy, Orion, Bosco, and Lady. If you want to see the full prediction and the discussion around it, you can follow the link in the pinned comment and it will bring you directly to the moment in the livestream where I started doing the predictions. I would like to thank all of our patrons for supporting the channel, and also for the past 2 months I completely forgot to shout out the new Patreon at the end of the videos, which is terrible. I am terrible. I am. So, a warm welcome to Mario, Mark James, Whistleman, Francisco Gonzalez, George, Aaron Donnelly, Gillian Cole, The Drag Detective, Raphael Labby, Dylan, Paul Cummins, Kurt Million, Omega1313, Axel, and Maya the Beast. Thank you all so much for helping us, and please consider joining us in the live stream, where I'm there for a good amount of time, usually 5-6 hours. So if you have any questions or anything that you would like to discuss directly with me, the best time is during the live stream. Or you can reach me on Patreon, you can reach me on email or on Discord. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in a couple of days. Bye guys!